Wu-Tang Clan. It's the PTCs. Here come the PTCs. Here come the Wu-Tang Clan. They won't let you forget them. The free thinkers dress and chill, remember that. Just in case we ever link up and make a pact. The title held by him, Snoop Von Poop, means what you think you know. He knows the scoop, so don't think twice. What was secret now drops. Khakis with the shades, blunt never stops. Talking riddles, drive with silence. Guard against the haters with hilarious defiance. But yo, we ain't on no scripted list. We straight vibing, connections, no fingerprints. Heard something wild, watch your feet, cause you never quite know where the Wu-Tang's at.
Here come the Wu-Tang Clan, Wu-Tang Clan. Free thought defenders. Oh, oh, oh. Here come the Wu-Tang Clan, Wu-Tang Clan. They won't let you forget them. Won't let you forget.
Now from the windy city streets of Chi-Town night, on the timeline, bright posts enter sight. Camera zoom on a legendary doom, but then like boom, dry jokes fill the room up with the quickness. Link with the witnesses, phone booth, vivid stories turn to epics. Ain't no PTC,
Nah, please.
do what we say, that's the way we kick it.
I
see Snoop get wicked on you with that dry humor. We your first, last, and only line of laughs against the worst boredom in the universe. So don't fear us. Cheer if you ever get near, don't sneer us.
We feel it.
PTCs freezing up all the slack.
What's that stand for? Wu-Tang Clan.
And the Wu-Tang Clan. The Wu-Tang Clan.
Let me see you just bounce it with me.
Just bounce with me.
Bounce with me.
Bounce it with me.
Come on, let me see you just slide with me.
Just slide with me.
Slide.
Just slide with me.
Slide. Come on, let me see you take a walk with me.
Just walk with me.
Walk with
Take a
me.
walk with me.
Come on. Tune in Tuesday at 6 EST. Here's the thing.
Now freeze!
Here come the Wu-Tang Clan. Wu-Tang Clan. Free thought defenders. Oh, oh, oh. Here come the Wu-Tang Clan. Wu-Tang Clan. They won't let you forget them. Oh, no.
Alright, check it. Let me tell you this in closing. Snoop might seem imposing, but trust me, if he ever drops in your section, believe me, it's for your own connection. Cause he knows celebs that you need not know, and he hits places that you need not go. So live your life, forget that lame crap. Show love to the dry wit, cause that's the Von end. That's the Von end.
Here come the Wu-Tang Clan. Wu-Tang Clan. We gon' defenders. Free fenders. Here come the Wu-Tang Clan. Wu-Tang Clan. They won't let you forget 'em. Won't let you forget 'em. Yeah. Here come the Wu-Tang Clan. Oh, here they come. Sports loving crew. Oh, oh, oh. Here come the Wu-Tang Clan. They won't let you forget 'em.
Phone Booth Productions.
Here's the thing.
Well, I get up around 7, get out of bed around 9. I don't worry about nothing, no, because worry's a waste of my time. Show usually starts around 7, we go on stage around 9. Get on the bus about 11, sipping a drink and feeling fine. Hello.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Here's the Thing podcast. Got the homie Chuck Shute in the house today. What is up, sir?
Hey, what's up? What's happening?
How are you?
Welcome. Good. How are you?
Fantastic. Nice shirt. Congratulations on that little Super Bowl win there.
Yeah, that was fun. Yeah, it's weird. Like growing up a Seahawks fan in the 80s and 90s, you're like, oh, it's like being a Browns fan now. You're like, oh, my team's never going to win a Super Bowl. Like never in my lifetime. And then we've won 2. So I'm happy.
I've only been fortunate enough to see one for the Bears. And well, they played in another, but we lost. But yeah.
That 85 Bears team though, that was insane.
Right. And like I was such a kid at the time, I was barely 5 years old, when it happened, but I still have the memories of it. Just like, I lived I'm from Chicago, so I lived back there when it was happening, and it was just like all the rage, like you could just feel it
That's a
everywhere you went.
sports town.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
got baseball, the hockey, and yeah, it's
I'll be real bummed if they move the stadium to. They're talking about Indiana now, and
oh, really?
yeah. So hopefully they can work something out in Arlington Heights to keep them, local. Even though Indiana, I mean, it's just over the border. You can see the Chicago skyline still. It's still, a suburb technically, but it's another state. So
I think
that's
that's how every city is doing it though. Like even New York isn't the stadium like it's in New Jersey and like a lot of these the one in San Francisco, it's actually in Santa Clara or something.
yep,
It's not San Francisco city limits. So a lot of cities are doing like in here the Cardinals, the Phoenix Air, what are they? The Arizona Cardinals, I guess their
yeah.
stadium's in Glendale. I mean, it's
Well,
just like
and when they moved to Glendale, they changed it to Arizona. It used to be Phoenix Cardinals.
yeah, that's right. Then they said, "Oh, we're the Arizona Cardinals."
Yeah,
Yeah, so
yeah. That's wild. It's I don't know. I mean, I guess like with Arizona, at least it's still considered, a local team, but I refuse to call it the Indiana Bears if they move there. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like
and yeah,
that's just
I would think
awful.
Indianapolis is the Indiana team, right? The
Yeah,
Colts.
the Colts. Yeah.
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 There's a
But
lot of teams in the vicinity though, like Detroit and Green Bay, like all those. You could drive to all those stadiums if you lived kind of around there, right? Couldn't
well,
you?
that's so we lived in like Highland Park area, Lake Forest area, which is northern suburbs of Chicago, and my
Hmm.
grandfather actually worked for the Packers. So I've been to more Packer games than I have Bear games. Like we would just go
Oh,
up to, sometimes they would play in Milwaukee even back then. And so we would either go to Milwaukee or Green Bay to see Packer games.
wow.
Yeah, yeah. But we always remain Bears fans though, it's like a rift in the family,
Yeah. Well, the Bears are a lot better now with Caleb Williams. I mean, they almost made it to the championship. I was hoping it was going to be the Bears over the. I didn't want to play the Rams as a Seahawks fan. I was like, ooh, I don't want to play the Rams. I think we could have beat the Bears, but I was like, I don't know about the Rams. It was close.
Well, I don't appreciate that comment, but
Well, you know
you
what
know,
I'm saying? This year, I'm saying like because they're so young. Like, just think about the Bears. Like in a year or two, like they're gonna be a lot better. But this year they weren't ready to go all. They weren't ready for the Seahawks this year, but they could be next year.
well, that's what was so nice about it is like it's like we're already playing with what's that expression, playing on money won or whatever. Like nobody expected us to win as many games as we did. Nobody expected
Yeah,
us to make the
yeah.
playoffs. So it's like no matter what happens, we've already exceeded everybody's expectations. You know what I mean?
Well, it's because you
Um
got that coach. He was the Detroit offensive coordinator, right?
yeah, Ben Johnson.
So yeah, he knows how to put on an offense. So yeah, they got a couple holes they need to fix and maybe better defense. But yeah, they'll be a good team for sure.
Well, there's speculation that they might try to go after Max Crosby, and if that happens, dude, phew, that's going to be
Yeah, there
awesome.
you go. Yeah.
Our secondary is pretty good. We need some help on the line, so that would be amazing if we could get him.
Hmm.
But let's get into you, man. Tell me about you, man. How did you grow up? Poor, middle class, rich boy? What, like, how'd you grow up?
I mean, I guess for me, it felt like just normal.
Just
Like it's
normal.
weird though. Well, you know what I mean? Like you don't understand how you think the house you grew up in is like normal, and then you go to your friend's house and you're like, oh, like
Oh,
you're either poor or rich comparing because like my next door neighbors like they had my next door neighbor had the GI Joe aircraft carrier.
oh,
You remember
wow.
that?
Every
And I was
boy
like.
wanted that.
Right? So I thought, oh my God, this guy's like so rich. He has everything. But then it's funny, my cousin later told me, he goes, dude, I remember going to your house and you had the Ewok village. And I thought you were so like rich and I was like, oh, that fucking Ewok village was stupid. I fucking hated that thing was a piece of crap. Like I wanted the aircraft carrier. So it's all relative, man. That's what I think. Like I would say, I don't know, upper middle class. Like I grew up I was a house on a lake in this small town called Issaquah. But like when my dad bought it, there was nobody around us. It was kind of like the outskirts of Seattle, and then it got built up like really quickly, and then the house became worth a lot of money and stuff. So Yeah, it changes like that. But my dad, I mean, he worked really hard. My dad actually grew up on welfare. He grew up on welfare, and his dad died when he was 13. Both of his parents were alcoholics, so he grew up like really poor. And so he just like worked really, really hard, started his own business, and he was very successful. And so I mean, yeah, I mean, I benefited from that, I guess, and I learned a lot from him and his work ethic and things like that. But I mean, I don't know. Would you say I would say probably some people think I was rich. For me, I could look at other people and go, oh wow, they were like way more rich. But I definitely wasn't like poor, or we weren't like ever
Yeah.
really struggling or anything like that. So I mean, I consider myself fortunate.
Yeah. I always based it on how many Nintendo games somebody had.
Ah,
You know what I mean?
I remember, yeah, I remember getting a Nintendo in fourth grade, and the first game I think I had was Rad Racer.
Oh,
And
that's a
yeah,
fun one.
yeah, the cool thing about Nintendo games is like it was fun because you could trade with your buddy. Like even this was like I think before you could even rent Nintendo games in the 80s, but like if your buddy like I remember our neighbors had Castlevania and was like, "Oh, we
Yeah.
want Castlevania." Like, "Oh, we want Rad Racer." We're like, "Oh, that game sucks. Here you go. We'll take, we trade in the games cuz whatever game you had, you're sick of it. But whatever game your
Right.
friend had, it's like a new game to you. So that was always exciting.
Those were good times, man. We'd get the Nintendo Power
Right?
magazine and you
Yeah,
know,
love
s-
that magazine.
spend the whole weekend trying to beat the game, like, oh, I miss
Yeah.
those. What's really cool is like today, so I have like the emulators and the ROMs. Like I have like 6,000 something games now. Like but I think there's about 11 or 1,200 Nintendo games, and then there's Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, like all of the systems. And it's
Is
fun, you
that
can
a
just
a
play them on your
legal thing?
computer.
Is that like a thing that you buy legally, or do you get it illegally, or how do those
Well,
work? I've always
I'm not gonna incriminate myself, Chuck.
okay.
But yeah, they
You'll have to
have
send it to
devices
me.
you can buy now. You can buy them now. I
Yeah,
don't
I
know
just
the
don't know, like,
legality of them, but
I see, like, because then I see some people say, like, "Oh, this is a scam. This didn't have all the good games," or like, I don't know. I don't know which one is a good one to get. You'll have to direct me as to a good one because I see that stuff and I go, "Oh, I'd love to go back and play those old games." I'm not much of a gamer now because it's not that they're not fun. Like people try to convince me to play like Call of Duty and shit like that, and I'm like, dude, it's so fun. I go, "Oh, I'm sure it is," but I would get addicted and then I would not like get anything done. And so I believe you that it's fun. I just don't want to start that thing and get
yeah,
addicted. Or do you play games now?
Yeah, so here, like, I kind of stopped. Like, I kind of like after I had the Sega Genesis after the Nintendo, and then once I hit high school, it pretty much just stopped. And I hadn't
Mm.
played until 2019. I had foot surgery, so I couldn't walk for. I was off my
Uh,
feet for about 3 months. So I bought a PlayStation 3, a used PlayStation 3 off of my old roommate, and I just started playing and I got hooked on the Grand Theft Auto. It's just so much fun. And like, I like the sports games because like, you can constantly play them. Like the NBA 2K, you can create like your team, and you try to win the championship, and then you continue on and
right.
make trades. And it's funny because the players in the game will request to be traded and whatnot. And if you don't offer them enough of a contract, though, they won't sign with you. Like, so it's kind of fun, doing that stuff. So, but I mean, I'm not really much of a gamer, but I do enjoy playing once in a while when I get the time. Since I've been podcasting, there's not much of that anymore. So,
Right.
but
Yeah. Well, that's good. Good to be busy. That's what I'm trying to keep myself busy with and being productive so then I don't feel like a lazy piece of shit. So,
yeah,
yeah.
I think I'm doing 7 podcasts this week.
Damn.
So, yeah,
Okay. That's good.
it's a busy week for me. But so you grew up in Washington, is that what you said?
Yeah.
And did you go to college?
I did. Yeah. I went to a small school. It's about an hour and a half outside of Seattle called Central Washington University. It was D2, I think it's called. So they don't have, I mean, they have sports, but like they're not going to be on TV or whatever. So like, I didn't really get into college sports until later. And then I was like, you're from Washington, you either pick the Huskies or the Cougs. And I picked the Cougs because I was like, well, I like underdogs, and I like the Coug fans seemed cooler to me. Like they seemed more fun. And so I rooted for the Cougs. But yeah, I mean, college it was fun. Like it was Ellensburg, small little town where Central was. And I went there for my bachelor's, and then I just stayed and I got my master's in psychology, and so I was there for like 7 years, and it was a good time. I mean, the first couple of years were it was kind of stressful, like going to college. You're when you're 18 and you move out of your house, and for some people it's like, oh, they just couldn't wait, but for me, I was like, oh, I feel like I'm just, I'm not ready to be an adult. I wanted to be a kid longer. So it was a little bit
Right.
stressful, but you get used to it. And then by the end of it, you're just like, oh man, this is like, you appreciate what you have being in a college town. Everyone around you is like the same age and stuff. But yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, I never went to college, man. I always wanted to go to University of Florida. Like I would spend my summers
Mm,
out in Florida and I just loved it
that'd
out
be
there.
fun.
And then, in my formative years I lived in Las Vegas and so I used to run around with a lot of people from UNLV
Mm.
and that's kind of how I got around the music scene was in Vegas as well, and that just kind of derailed everything. You know what I mean? Like
Gotcha.
wanting to be around the rock scene became more important than anything else. But so you said psychology, your degrees in psychology.
Yeah.
Now I know you have a podcast, the Chuck Shoot podcast. Are you a journalist? Would you call yourself a journalist?
No, definitely not. I would not call my,
Definitely
I mean,
not.
I don't even do the interviews anymore because I just feel like nobody cares. Nobody, I mean, I have over 500 interviews. They're still up and they'll be on my YouTube forever, but I just started doing more solo material because I was like, I want to build up my own name and my own brand before I start doing more interviews. I want people to want to come on my show. Like, I just felt like I was always begging people to come on my show, and like they either would just blow me off, or like sometimes people would do it, but I felt like they didn't really want to be there, kind of thing. And I was like, oh, this is like really, I feel like I'm like bothering people to ask them to come on my show. Whereas I feel like at the beginning of it, I don't think it was like that. Cause when I started in 2019, there wasn't as many podcasts. Now there's so many fucking podcasts, and every celebrity has one. And I'm competing against celebrities. And I was like, I got to stand out in some way. So that's when I was like, all right, I'm going to start focusing on just doing my own solo content and just building, like, teaching people something and trying to do more short content. Cause that's the thing with podcasts. I mean, as you probably know, it's hard to get people to listen to a full podcast
Well,
because they're longer.
yeah, you're absolutely right, and that's why I try to keep them at an hour or less. And for one reason that I do that is like when you do a live stream to like Instagram, for example, they cut you off at an hour.
Mm.
So it's like I try to stay there. And then the other thing is like I do a live stream on Saturday nights and we do 4 hours, and we actually just dropped it down to 3. But that's a beast. Doing 4 hours sitting there talking to people is a long time, you know.
Yeah. Do you
Um,
post clips of your shows? Because I found that was a way to get more traction. Like, a lot of people will just watch the clip and they won't
yeah.
watch the full show, but at least you can get some content from, like, because I'd sit down, I'd do all this research, I would interview the guests, I would do all the intro, the outro, and all this stuff, the timestamps, the social media, and then I would get some of the episodes that would barely get 100 views or something. And I was like, damn it. So if you take a clip, sometimes the clip could take off and get thousands and thousands of views. So
Yeah, I'm pretty fortunate right now because I only started just this past summer. I think you'll be episode number 32, I believe. I think that's where we're at,
okay.
32. But I've been pretty fortunate to be part of the phone booth production company. There was already the phone booth podcast, and Ted, the creator, he has 110,000 followers or something like that. So he
Wow.
kind of promotes me, and it helps me get a lot of views. So I've been fortunate that just starting out when I did, I've been getting good views. And
Nice.
it's I think you're right. It's really hard. Booking guests might be the hardest part of podcasting. You know, and like I said, I grew up around the music scene, so it's like I'm fortunate enough to know a lot of people that I can hit up. Hey, do you want to come on? But even then, it's like one guy. I've been talking to him for 2 months, and he's like, "Yeah, let's do it. We can do it next week. Next week. Oh wait, the label says we're not supposed to do any interviews. For right now." And it's just like you deal with stuff like
Yeah.
that,
I
and
got
then some people are
so
like,
tired of
"Oh,
that.
talk to my publicist." This that,
Right.
but
Yeah. Well, and then sometimes the public, you'll do the interview and you'll, so, like I always would try to promote the guest and try to be positive and helpful, but I also let the guests say whatever they want. So if they said something that, was controversial or whatever, like I usually didn't edit it out because unless they asked me to, but sometimes they'll tell the publicists get mad after the interview and say, oh, you shouldn't have asked him this, or like, why did you let him say this? And I'm like, well, I just did the interview. Like you didn't say, like, they get mad at you after the fact.
Right.
And I'm like, it's already too late. Like, I don't know. Like they get mad at you and I'm just like, dude, I'm not trying to do like a gotcha journalism or anything. I'm just trying to bring up things that I think are interesting. So I don't know that. Yeah, there were so many reasons why I just like, I need a break from interviews and podcasting. So I'm just I'm just doing short content. Like I'll do YouTube shorts, which are like 30 seconds or 60 seconds. And then I'll do like short YouTube videos, like 3 to 10 minutes or something on a topic. And so I'm hoping that will build up my brand a little bit better and give myself a name so that people, because a lot of people would subscribe to my channel, but they're subscribing for the guest, and they're not subscribing for me. And I was like, I want people to subscribe for me because of something I'm providing them, not just these guests. And then, so eventually, like people get to know me and they're subscribing for me and I have a following, then it will make sense to have guests and do podcasts. I think, I don't know. I think I did it backwards. I did guests first. And but it did help me build up a following of over 8,000 YouTube subscribers. So that was a good place to start, but I'm just kind of trying to go back now and build up my own name.
Yeah. Yeah, it's helping me, having some guests. Like I just had Ivan DePrume from White Zombie on just 2 weeks ago. So it's like it's nice when you can get guests like that, and help build yourself up. It's kind of nice, but it's a different animal trying to do it by yourself. So I mean, dude, I applaud you for that. I mean, that's tough. How did you
Yeah.
get into this? Like I've known your name for a long time. This full disclosure, this is the first time we've ever really spoke. But
Yeah.
I've
It's
known
fucking
your
fun
name,
concept.
like I've known your name for a while. And I can't remember where I first heard you. Maybe it was Blabbermouth, maybe, or I don't know.
Uh,
Did you ever have anything on Metal Sludge?
Definitely. Yeah. I've been on all those sites, Metal Sludge,
Okay.
Blabbermouth,
Okay.
Loudwire,
Mhm.
Guitar World. I've been on Consequence of Sound, I think. Even there's one of my things that like went like it was on the Daily Mail and stuff. Like that was pretty crazy. So,
Wow.
but yeah, again, a lot of those stories, like the headline is whatever the guest said, right? And then I'm like a blurb in the article if people even read the article, and if people even watch the podcast, then then they might see me. But yeah, that's probably yeah. There's been a lot of press that I got from my interviews that I would break a lot of stories and
Yeah,
stuff. But
like,
yeah, it
so
just became harder and harder to do that.
like, I just remember seeing your name, and then when I was having Izzy Presley on
Oh yeah,
is
he's
when
cool. I like him.
and that's when we finally connected because I watched, your interview with him, and I was like, "Oh, yeah, I
Oh,
remember
that was
this
a long
Chuck
time
Shute
ago.
guy." Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, but it's good to finally, get to meet you, after hearing your name all the time, but, how did you get into doing this?
Yeah, I mean, I think well, like I remember in college, I was into for some reason I've always been fascinated by movies and TV and music and radio and sports and entertainment and all that stuff. So I just remember I think the first kind of like taste of it was probably college. They had a college radio station, and I thought they said like they kind of told people like, yeah, if you want to be a DJ, you just go down and sign up. And I was like, really? I was like, you don't have to like like try to apply or like beat somebody. It was like they basically just needed DJs. And because it's like a radio station, they're trying to be on the air all the time. So I think they were always looking for people. And it's a small college. So yeah, I think I went down there and signed up, and me and my buddy at the time, we were on together. You would like him, Busky. Shout out to Busky. He was a quirky guy, but yeah, we would have a show together, and it was like we didn't know what the fuck we were doing. And the weird thing about the radio station is like they want you to play college radio. You had to play 5 songs every hour from
Ugh.
the selected, CDs that and then most of it was just honestly it was a shit. Like it was
Well,
just
you're
these
playing, like,
bands you never
4
heard of.
and, like, so
It's
some
like
of those jam band.
experimental.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like experimental, like Fish and like, but not even Fish because Fish is well. These are bands like that mostly you'd never heard of. But so I think we would try to play like the shortest songs, or I would let Busky pick those because I would be like, "Oh, I don't fucking care, you pick it." And then we would try to pick our own music, which could just be anything we wanted. But me and my buddy had different tastes. So yeah, it was kind of interesting. But so I remember doing that, and that was kind of fun. And then I kind of didn't really mess with it for a while. But then I remember my cousin who works at the news station here, he mentioned he started a podcast, and he was, talking to me about it. And I was like, oh, so how, like, I thought you had to like, I didn't know anybody could do it. And this was like 20, I don't know, 15 or something like that. And he had started, it was a podcast about comic books or something, but I just thought that was cool that he just did it. So I was like, oh, I'm going to do a podcast. So I started a podcast with a buddy of mine, and we did that for a couple of years. And then we both started our own kind of solo shows. And then that podcast kind of fell apart. And then I just started doing my solo show. I was only doing it like, once or twice a month or once a week or something. But then when COVID hit, that was all people could do was podcast. Yeah. So then it just really ramped up at that point. And I was just getting not really, I don't know, not inundated with people, but there was a lot of people that wanted to do my show, or I could send out 5 or 10 emails and I would get 2 or 3 responses back to say, yeah, I'll do your show. Whereas like now if I send out, I'd have to send out like 100 emails, and I might get like 3 or 4 out of 100, that would say that they would do it, depending on, who I'm asking. But yeah, so that was kind of where things really took off, was during the pandemic, because it was kind of like a boom, and everybody was starting a podcast. Every time, like every week I'd find some new person. I'm like, oh, I've never heard of this. And a lot of it was like, because a lot of my interviews were music centered people. So a lot of people in that music world podcasting they'd reach out to me, or we'd talk to each other. It was kind of fun because it was kind of like a community. Like everybody would like kind of help each other out, or I tried to help everybody out with, oh, how'd you get this guest? Oh, how'd you get that guy? Like, oh, here, I emailed this, I emailed this guy, and you try to help each other out. But then it's funny because like, it's just kind of random. Like some people would get a guest that you really want, and you'd get a guest that they really want, but then it didn't make sense. Like this guy's got less followers, but he got a bigger guest. It was just kind of wild, but it was fun. It was a good time because I was friends with most of the people that were doing it. And it was like there was some competition, but it was friendly competition. Everybody was kind of rooting for each other. At least it felt like that way to me. And like I said, I always tried to help everybody out. And so it was fun. It was a good time, but it seemed like it just kind of died off after everyone went back to work. There wasn't as much time to watch. And also like a few things happened. Like everyone went back to work, so there wasn't much time to watch podcasts. And then people, all the bands and stuff went back on tour. So they weren't as available to do podcasts. And then the third thing that happened is that like all these other celebrities, or, not even if you know celebrities, but more well-known than me, would start a podcast. Like Billy Corgan would start a podcast, and you're like, oh, okay. Like I'm competing with Billy Corgan from Smashing Pumpkins for the same guest. And it's like, if you're Stephen Pearcy from Rat, like, are you going to do Billy Corgan's podcast or like Chuck Schute's? Like, yeah, probably Billy Corgan. Like, so it was really hard to compete for these guests. And I was just like, fuck, like I gotta do something different. So that's why I started doing more solo stuff. So sorry that was a long answer to your question, but
you're keep going. I've been pretty fortunate, like I when I first started, I made a list of guests that I wanted to have, and I've hit almost all of them. And I'm very surprised, pleasantly, surprised that, I've been able to get some of the guests. There's only one that's been giving me a real hard time, Carrie Kelly. I'm calling you out right here, Carrie. Like, I've known Carrie Kelly. He's been a dear friend of mine for like 30 years. And, I've been trying to get him on since I started. He said he was going to come on, and he still hasn't, and then the other day he's like, I'm not really doing interviews. I'm like, oh, come on, man. This is a conversation, not an interview. What are you talking about? But he'll come on at some point.
Yeah, he did nice. He's a nice guy. I remember that that was a fun interview because he's been in so many bands that I'm a fan of. So it was like you could talk about Vince Neil and Night Ranger, and was he in Rat too? Like he's been in everything. Yeah, he's in a bunch of shit. So that was a fun one. But yeah, he had some good stories. So yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like there's a lot of those guys, but I think that's kind of explains where I'm at, because you could see he's like, even a guy like that is like, I don't know, I'm kind of, because they've done it so many times. It starts to get repetitive after a while, and they've told the same stories, and so it just becomes competitive to do that, and harder to get the guests because they've done it. So after a while, like I said, in 2018, 19, 20, it was like a lot of these guys hadn't done that many podcasts. So some of the people that did my show, it was like maybe one of their first podcasts ever, or they hadn't done very many. So I could break a lot of stories because I could find stuff out and it's like, oh, they never talked about this on a podcast. And so we could make news. But now it's like, some of these guys, they just tell the same stories over and over again on different
Yeah.
podcasts. And I started to feel like, well, what is the point of this if I'm just getting them to rehash the same thing? I want to break the story that nobody knows. So that's harder to do if they're doing, especially if they're still doing a lot of interviews. Like if they have a new album out and the publicist just signs them up for like, 20 podcasts a day for like a week. So that's like, they're doing like 100 podcasts in a week. Like, and it's really hard to stand out with that.
Yeah, sure. You've had some pretty amazing guests on your show. Who would you say was the most interesting, or what guests really kind of took you by surprise, or you know?
I don't know, man. That's so hard. Cause yeah, it's like, I feel like every time, I don't know, maybe it's like when we have children, you're like the newest child is your favorite. I don't know. I don't have any kids,
Okay.
but you know what I mean? Like it's always like it changes, and I feel like my guests, like they almost are kind of my children. Like because I put so much effort and time into those interviews and prep work and questions. And like, I never just was like, oh, I'm just going to fly by the seat of my pants. I mean, I tried to do more of that as I got more experienced. I felt like I could be more comfortable by doing that and kind of just being in the moment. But I would put a lot of effort into. I would listen to a lot of interviews of that guest and try to find the right questions, things that they hadn't talked about or things that people missed in interviews. Like, oh, they didn't really follow up on this. So, I mean, it's hard to just pick one. I mean, I just remember like, one of the first kind of big guests that I got was Eric Turner from Warrant. And that was really cool because I was a huge Warrant fan when I was a kid. And I remember like this kid in 8th grade had a Warrant t-shirt and I thought he was so cool. And I remember getting the Cherry Pie, like DVD or a CD from the library. And like you open
In
up
the library,
the
wow.
yeah, I was in the library and I remember like you open up the booklet and it was like they had like the band in this car and then like you saw like the girl like she was on her knees on the roller skate like behind the car door and you're like, wait a minute, she's like giving that guy a BJ. Like it was like very scandalous and like I thought it was like very cool, when I was in 8th grade. So to sit there and I followed the band, through Dog Eat Dog and like a lot of the,
What a great
ultraphobic and all
album.
these. Yeah, I mean, I love that stuff. Like they were not really. I was in Seattle in the '90s, so everyone
Oh
else was like
boy.
wearing Alice in Chains shirts and shit. And
Yeah.
I liked Alice in Chains too, but I mean, I loved Warren, and I still followed them. And so to sit down with him was like really cool. And then I remember too, like right around that same time, I was trying to get John Corabi, who was the singer of Motley Crue when Vince Neil left for a few years. And I loved that album. And that now people
Great
say like,
album.
oh, I love that album with Karabi. But at the time, again, I don't remember too many people, definitely not in Seattle, that were praising that album. But I loved it.
Yeah.
I listened to it all the time. So I was a big fan of Karabi.
Have you talked to him?
And I remember, huh?
Have you had him on?
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. I had him on like 3 times, but
Oh wow,
the first
cool.
time was crazy because again, this was like kind of in the early days of podcasts, and I don't think he had done that many podcasts, and he definitely hadn't done one in like, I don't know, 6 months or a year. He had been quiet for a while, and I think he had wanted to promote a single or something he was doing. So I reached out, and I had reached out a few times and never heard back. And then I reached out and I think I found a way, an email or something. Anyways, I get this number calling me from like a Beverly Hills area code. And I was like, what the fuck is this? I answer the phone. It's fucking John Corabi. And I was like, and my jaw dropped. I was like, cause this is like, I mean, I had posters of this guy on my wall. Like I thought he was so cool. I really love that album. And I just thought he was, I mean, I listened to all these interviews with him and, read interviews with him in Metal Edge and all this. Like he was a rock star to me and he still is. And so it was just weird to like have him call me on the phone. I was like, this is surreal. And he's like, okay, like let's do it this Friday, da da da. And then we did the interview in the first one, like, and I wowed him with my research. He's like, wow, how the fuck did you know that? Like, and so that like felt really good. And that was very memorable. And there was a lot of interviews like that. And there was a lot of ones that were just really fun, like people that were just funny and interesting and comedians and musicians. And I mean, I got started to get more into like the more serious stuff, like with health stuff and the health people that were really into working out and eating healthy and the whole science behind that. And, it's really, I just started to get really kind of more like kind of go the Joe Rogan route where I was just like, I'm going to have a variety of people on. And, I had a guy that does he treats people for depression and anxiety and PTSD with psychedelics. Like giving him psychedelic mushrooms and like, and so it was like really interesting to me. So I learned a lot about just the world and just things that were interesting to me. And so yeah, to pick one though, I mean, I don't know. I mean, those are a couple that stand out,
Yeah.
Karabi and Eric Turner. I mean, Ted Nugent, I had him on a couple times,
Oh,
and
that's a good one.
yeah, he was wild, man. He is. I don't care what your politics are. Like, he's just a fun guy to hang out with. Like,
Sure.
trust me. Like, even if you hate his politics, you would like hanging out with him and just having a conversation with him. He's just a really fun, high energy, interesting guy. So
I really need
yeah,
to
those
reach out to John Karabi. You know, I'm so dumb, man. Like over the years, I've met everybody in the business, and I always end up getting their phone numbers, but I never call them. So it's like I have
are.
a whole Rolodex full of people, and I feel weird now. It's like Karabi, I haven't talked to him in years, but like we went to a Black Crows concert together. You know,
Mm.
I picked him up to go to the show, and I for whatever reason I was driving my mom's car. I don't know why I didn't have mine, but I remember having my mom's car when I picked him up, and he stunk like patchouli oil, and my mother's car reeked of patchouli for 2 weeks probably after he had been in there. And I'm like, dude. But you know, so it's like that's one person that like I feel weird, you know, because I haven't talked to him in so long. Which hey, do you remember me? You know, Bloss Elias from Slaughter. You know, he gave me his number 10 years ago, and I feel weird now. You know, because I haven't never called him. You know, but if I reach out now, hey, do you want to do my podcast? I feel kind of weird. You know, but
Yeah, I've reached out to him too many times, but I don't think he does interviews. I've never seen an
not
interview with him.
money.
But if you got
No.
him, that'd be a good.
Well, you know, I think he maybe did Jason Green's podcast one time, whom I'm kind of friends with him. You know, he owes me a favor actually. So maybe I could reach out through Jason or something. But yeah, he's a sweetheart of a guy too. You know, he's a Vegas guy, and like I said, I lived there for 20 years, and I would see him all the time. You know, um, but you know it's just weird after so long of not talking to someone and reaching out, you know. I you know you mentioned Warrant too. I man, I wish Janie Lane was still with us, because he would be a fun interview, you know, because
Oh, for sure.
I hung out with him a few
Did you
times
meet
in the
him?
90s, and
Oh, you did?
I just remember, you know, talking to him, and you could see the depression, you know, you could tell just drinking with him, you know, like I remember he did a show with Alice Cooper, and I was hanging out with him after the show, and he was like just talking shit, quite frankly, about Alice Cooper, and you could just tell that that was the depression coming from him. You know, it wasn't that Alice was bad. It was just like that was his own inner demon or something, you know. And so it'd
Yeah,
be
that's weird. It's like I've had so many people on my show praise Al. I've never heard anyone say anything bad about Alice Cooper. Everyone loves him, so that's really crazy.
yeah, he was nice to me the one or two times I met him because Carrie, you know, Carrie played with him for quite a while.
Oh,
So you know, that's how I met him and Calico. But yeah, I just wish, you know, I could talk to Janie, you know, today. But rest in peace, Janie Lane. But
yeah, I think he's a very underrated songwriter. I think he got lumped into that like hair metal thing because they you know that was their look. But if behind the look, I think there was some really good songs, and he got better as a songwriter. The first album is like, yeah, it's kind of fun, it's a little poppy, kind of cheesy. Cherry Pie, there's some, I mean, Uncle Tom's Cabin, that's what he wanted to call that
yeah,
album, and that song is like really good. I
oh
think
yeah,
even if you played it today to people, if you didn't tell them it was Warrant and you just said, hey, check out this song, what do you think of this? Like, it's fucking badass. And then if you played some of the Dog Eat Dog songs, I think those are really good too. I think he got better as a songwriter. It's just sad that, yeah, I think the depression just definitely and the alcoholism took over.
Dog Eat Dog is become one of my favorite albums. It's just it's so much heavier than people think Warrant is. I'm trying to remember what's that. Inside Out, I think is the name of the track.
Oh, I love that song. Yeah, that's
Dude,
great.
it's so heavy and so good. You're like, holy cow, this is Warrant. It just doesn't even
Yeah.
sound like it would be Warrant. Um, so how do you? So you obviously you love the same type of music. Um, how did you start meeting all these people?
I just started reaching out. I mean, it was just weird. Like I listened to a lot of self-help kind of podcasts. I think I remember like I think it was around 2015 or 2016. I think that's when I discovered this podcast, this self-help podcast. And actually it's kind of funny. I later ended up working for this guy, and then I got fired, but that's a whole another story. But I listened to a lot of self-help podcasts and stuff, and it was a lot of this like building you up, like, hey, you can do it, you can do, go after your dreams and all this. And I was like, well, I always wanted to be in the entertainment business. I always, and this wasn't necessarily that I wanted to be like a radio host or podcaster or interviewer or anything like that, but I always wanted to be in the entertainment business in some facet. And I thought, well, this would make sense to do interviews because my background's in psychology. I was a counselor, so I was used to talking to people one-on-one and talking about everything that, as a counselor, people will tell you their deepest, darkest secrets. You learn how to get people to open up, how to build a rapport quickly, all those things. I use those counseling tricks when I was doing podcasts. So, but yeah, the self-help thing, I think that just kind of helped me realize like, oh, I can do it. Like I can reach out to these rock stars and these celebrities. Cause I think when you're a kid, they just seem so untouchable. You see them in a magazine. And like I said, I had pictures of these rock stars on my wall. I just thought they were so cool, but also felt like it was like unrealistic to ever like interact with them or to have people's numbers or to meet them backstage or to do 2-hour podcasts with them. It seemed unreachable, but I think I convinced myself, oh, I can fucking do this. And then when I started getting good feedback from the guests and from the audiences that they enjoyed the interviews, I was like, okay, that gives you more confidence. So then you just start reaching out to bigger and bigger names. And I mean, it's it was a numbers game at first. Like it was just like I said, I think I would reach out to 10 or 20 people. You get a few responses and mostly you get rejected. Right. So, but I didn't know any of them. Yeah. I didn't have a connection. I didn't know anybody in the radio business or anything. I just built up a name for myself from basically nothing. Like my first couple of episodes, like I just reached out and I said, hey, I think the drummer from Trickster, Mark Gus Scott.
Mark Gus, yeah.
Yeah,
I've been trying to get him on. He lives out here.
Yeah. He's great. He's very open, and he did my show a few times, and he was one of my first guests. And I think I was Facebook friends with him because my childhood buddy from high school taught him karate in New York City. And so we were talking one time when I went to New York, and he says, oh, you should talk to my buddy Mark. He was drummer Trickster. And so I sent him a friend request, and I think he accepted it, not knowing who the fuck I am, but maybe saw that we had a mutual friend. And so I thought I could reach out to this guy. We're friends on Facebook. Like, maybe he'll do it. And so I just sent him a message, and he said, yeah, let's go for it. It sounds fun. And I was like, oh wow. And I was like super nervous, like doing my first interview with him. I was like, oh God, what if I fuck this up? Like, I don't, and he loved me. He thought I had some great questions, and we hit it off. And so, yeah, I think that gave me enough if that first one went terrible, who knows what would have happened. But yeah, I mean, I just had some of those early wins that helped me kind of give me the confidence to build up the show and reach out to bigger and bigger names. But yeah, then like I said, I think it just kind of trailed off towards the last year or two. So that's why I kind of stayed away from doing interviews right now. I mean, I would definitely turn it back on. Like if I started getting a bunch of big names reaching out to me and saying, hey, I really want to do your show, I'd be like, all right, let's turn it back on. It's Chuck Shoot Podcast is back in business. So, but we'll see. For now, just focus on the solo stuff. But yeah,
I've been trying to get Gus on. I met him. He's another Carrie Kelly connection. I've met so many people through Carrie. He's with Night Ranger, and they played out here, and I met Gus at a Night Ranger show. And then I just ran into Gus. I guess it's been about a year now at a Tesla show. I ran into him backstage. But
how do you know Carrie again? Remind me.
So Carrie, I met Carrie. I met Carrie when he was with Rat, I believe. I want to say maybe 90, 98, 99, I think. Okay. And we just became buddies. And he ended up opening a business with another friend of mine, Ryan Johnson, who went on to manage Steven Adler. And they opened Aces and Ales up in Las Vegas. Maybe you've heard of it. But
I've heard of that. Is it still in business?
Yeah, they have 2 bars, Aces and Ales, and then they just opened a brewery up there, which is I was trying to get Carrie to come on as they were opening the brewery. I wanted him to come on so he could promote that a little bit. But just, every time Carrie would come to town, I'd be hanging out with him and I'd meet somebody else. I'd meet Robbie Crane, and then I'd meet John Corabi, and then, it's like how I started meeting everybody. over the years. I was, I think I was 18 or 19 years old in Las Vegas, and I used to hang out. I knew the DJs for Comp 92.3, the rock station in Las Vegas. So I would go into the studio and hang out with them, and then they would do like promotional events at the club Pinkies in Las Vegas, and so they would sneak me in. I was underage at the time.
Mm.
And so then I just would, start meeting people. I'd be, hanging out with Kevin DeBro, having to carry him into his mother's house because he was so drunk, and I'd have to carry him into his mom's house, you know?
Shit.
Yeah. And so
Wait, so what did you do something in the music business though? Or
I used to play drums, and I worked with Randy Piper from Wasp for a little bit, and I, that, and then I just kind of stopped. He wanted me to move to Ohio, and I wasn't going to move to Ohio, and I just would meet people, just being around the scene, the whole
yeah.
entertainment industry, and somehow I always would end up backstage or whatever,
Hmm.
like Carrie Kelly. I remember he was in Skid Row at the time, and he was playing in Lake Tahoe. I lived in Vegas, and he was in Tahoe, and I had just bought a new truck, and he's like, "Well, why don't you come up, man, for the night or whatever?" I was like, "All right, cool. Break in the truck." I drove up to Tahoe, and that's how I met Skid Row, and their road manager became my roommate. So then I got to be buddies with Snake and
Wow.
Scotty, and
Okay.
so it's just networking. Like I was
Wow.
never really. I always, like you were saying earlier, I kind of wanted to be part of the industry, but not necessarily as a musician. I didn't.
Mm.
I never thought I would have a podcast, as recent as a year ago. I didn't think I'd be doing this. And it just kind of fell into pieces, like, or fell into place. Like I did the phone booth podcast with my buddy Ted, and then I kind of got hooked on it. And when I did his podcast, his co-hosts, all three, there was four guys on the podcast, and three of them all left at the same time for different reasons. It wasn't connected. It's just weird timing. And so I kind of reached out to him and I said, "Hey, um, if you need a co-host or something, maybe I could come on and help you. I know a little bit about the stuff that you talk about, but I can add little witty comments in here and there, and so you don't have to do it alone." And it just kind of progressed into this. He started a whole production company, and now under the phone booth production company, we have about 9 different podcasts.
Mm.
So I mean, it's pretty neat, that I got to help him build this, and it just kind of got me started. I didn't think I'd be doing it. It wasn't something I sought out to do, but it's really cool for me because now I can, talk to these people from years ago that I want to talk to more. Like I said, I got the phone numbers that I never call, so now it kind of gives me the reason to reach out to them.
Yeah.
Um, but I just, like I said, I never thought I'd be doing it. Like I enjoyed hanging out at the radio stations in the '90s. Like it was fun seeing how the sausage was made, if you want to put it that way. But
Yeah.
I
Sure.
wasn't. I was too nervous back then to really want to go on air. And I
Mm.
still, even today, still get nervous. My first couple episodes, I would throw up before them. I'd be so nervous. Now I kind of
Sure.
feel like I'm getting into my stride a little bit where I'm comfortable enough. Cause like I said, I do the 2 other podcasts and we do them live twice a week. And, and then this other one, I'm doing a sports podcast now called The Pick Is In. And, so it's nice, because I can talk about, like, this podcast. I try to focus on music and comedy and entertainment and overall anything. Like we did a whole podcast about addiction in one of the episodes, and it's like, like you were saying, like the Rogan aspect where you can talk about anything on it. The Pick Is In is all sports based. The phone booth is more conspiracy news type stuff, current events and stuff like that. you know so I think it's nice that I can branch out and cover all of those bases. But you know what, dude, it's an algorithm killer. It really screws up my algorithm. Like if I stuck to one genre, my
Yeah.
algorithm would be so much better.
I
Like,
know. That's what I found out too with my YouTube. I was like, oh, my buddy told me that for years too. And his channel took off like really because he just focused on music. He goes, you need to separate your channels, do a music channel and do a channel about the other shit. And I was like, no, I just want to do what I think is interesting. It's my channel. I want to do what I want. And, but so, yeah, so now I'm trying to focus more. It's going to be more focused on like human interests, like psychology, kind of like a self-help, but just kind of like how to, how to make people, because I guess like my fascination has always been with celebrities has always been like, how do they do it? I always thought like it was like a magic trick. Like how does Karabi, become the singer of Motley Crue? How do these guys, what makes them stand out? And it's like, I think it's because you look at these guys, then they did something, they beat the odds and they achieved this level of success. And to me, the mental part is so fascinating. Even with sports, with like the Seahawks and stuff, they won the Super Bowl. Like, how did they do that? Yeah, of course they all work out. They're all in great shape. They're all athletes, but why did the Seahawks win it and the other teams didn't? It's like, I think a lot of that stuff is mental. And that's the part that fascinates me. Like, how can we help other people achieve greatness in their life for whatever that may be? But just like, happiness and healthy, and because there's just a lot of shit in the world today and a lot of people are really struggling. So I was like, if I can make something that helps people achieve their own dreams and become their own rock star of the, and for whatever that means to them, maybe they're not going to be they're not going to win the Super Bowl. And they're not going to play sold out stadiums, but maybe they're just like a rock star dad or husband, or they're rock star at their job and they're just having a good life, basically is what I'm trying to do now. So whatever that's worth.
Yeah, there's definitely something about them as to how they made it, and I think one of the things for me when I first started meeting a bunch of people is like you could see who's a dick and who wasn't a dick, you know what I mean? But for some reason they were still able to make it, even being an asshole. They somehow did it.
Well,
It was like
it depends. If they're mediocre and they're an asshole, no. But if they're really talented and they're an asshole, it's kind of like Kaepernick. I think we were talking about this the other day. I was like, I mean, Kaepernick was like, he was a decent football player, but like there was that, I mean, whether you think he's an asshole, and I'm not saying whatever, like your opinion of, but there was, there, and the same thing with, you could argue the same thing with Tebow, like Tebow and Kaepernick. It's a perfect example of both. Both guys were like pretty good football players in the NFL, but they had the circus that went along with both of them. And for most teams, it's not worth it because they were going to probably be a backup quarterback. And it's like, do you really want a huge circus following your team for a backup quarterback? And it's like, it's not worth it. So they, like, if they had both just not had their little, if Tebow wasn't, preaching all the stuff about Jesus, and if Kaepernick wasn't doing his political thing, and they just stuck to football, they probably would have had longer careers in the NFL because they were definitely better than a lot of the players that made teams that beat them out for jobs, I think.
Yeah. It's funny to see, even today, Kaepernick saying, I could still play, it's like, dude, nobody's wanted you for 10 years. Like, what?
Yeah.
What are you
How
trying
old
to
is he
do?
now? He's got to be too.
Yeah, he's getting up there. But I mean, who else was it just came back? An older guy. Was it Phillip Rivers? Did he just
Yeah, he did. He's like 40. He's like 44 or something. Like he's only a couple years younger than me. I can't imagine going out. I mean, I get hurt just going to the gym. Like I get not like, sore. Like the next day you're like, oh fuck. Like my body just lifting weights. Like I can't imagine getting hit.
Yeah.
Even with pads.
Congratulations to you, because you don't look that old, man. Like I wouldn't have guessed you being that old.
No, thank you. Yeah. I mean, I take care of myself, and I think part of it is just like my genes. Like I've always looked younger, which sucked when I was like in high school because everyone thought I was like younger, and I'm like, no, dude, I'm like 17, 18.
And now what kind of jeans are you wearing? Are these American Eagle, Levi? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I wanna ask you a question, and I want your opinion on AI and like in music. Like, do you think we will have new rock stars? Like, I mean, there's the one guy that's kind of new who just did that song with I forget his name right now, but he's real popular. He just did that stuff with Aerosmith, and he did the Black Sabbath shows. I forget his name, but he's real popular right now, and he's someone I would consider a modern day rock star. But we don't really have like rock stars anymore, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of funny because, I feel like DJs are, for a while, I don't even know if that's a thing, but for a while, there was a period where DJs were like the new rock stars.
Yeah.
Which was really weird to me because they just go out there and they got their laptop and they're like pushing a button and like, and you're just like, what the fuck is this? Like, why am I paying money to see someone push play on a laptop? I don't get it. So, I mean, I think there's different levels of rocks. I mean, there's so many, like, I feel like everyone's kind of a rock star now. Like, everyone has social media, everyone has followers. I mean, there's people that have their Instagram rock stars that not necessarily with music, but I'm saying with other things, but also, yes, with music. There's people that are on TikTok that have never left their bedroom that have a million followers and they could play the guitar and they're crazy and they've never been in a band or whatever. But like, I had one girl on my show. She's played in some bands, but she's very young and she has a very big following on Instagram. I think it was like, it's probably around 250,000 people or something or at this point, but she plays drums and she posts all these drum videos and she's really good. I think, I don't know. I'm not a drummer. So maybe people could say she's not technically right or whatever, but you know, she's a young girl. She's cute and she's playing the drums and rocking out to System of a Down and all the stuff. And it's like, she's got a huge following. So, I don't know. It's hard to say. Yeah. With rock stars with, in terms of like the music that you and I like real rock that, you know, with drums and bass and guitar. I mean, what's the one guy, that had the, fight with Sebastian Bach, that guy, Ronnie Radke.
Oh yeah.
So that guy's, I mean, I would say that guy's like a rock star. He's got a huge, I forget the name of his stupid
I
band.
mean, he's
Is good, but
falling
yeah.
in reverse.
Falling in reverse. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I like that stuff. I don't follow him like religiously or anything, but like if you put on a Falling in Reverse song, it's like, it's interesting. Like it's very different. It's modern. He's using electronic parts and stuff. And I think that could be the future. But I just, yeah, I don't know because I feel like a lot of kids are not into music even. They're not into any music, right? Like I think a lot of kids just, they'll put on like stuff for the background, but I don't know if they know anything about music and stuff. I think a lot of kids don't even really watch Netflix. Like they can't even have the attention span to watch a TV show or a movie. Like they only watch YouTube clips.
YouTube. Yep. I really dig the drummer from Falling in Reverse. He's a local boy. He's from Peoria. Luke Holland is his name.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
a fantastic drummer. So I was talking to Brett Perozzi, who is the creator of the band Messiah 9, singer. He was also in a industrial band in the 90s called Bile, whom they were pretty big at the time. They were featured in that D. Snyder movie Strangeland and whatnot.
Oh, I love that movie.
But I was talking to him and he's really discouraged about even trying to make new music because of what AI is doing. Like you can literally just type in, you know, a few terms into an AI program and create a song.
Yeah. Well, I know it because I have another channel that I've started, and it's a travel channel, and it's so I just like travel in Arizona. It's called Desert Detours if anyone's interested in travel channels, but it's really fun. But yeah, one of the things I did on that channel is like I needed music for the videos, and I was like, well, I can't use like Guns N' Roses and stuff because they're gonna the copyrights or whatever. So I was like, I can create music. Well, I can't create music because I can't play, so I'll use AI. You know, just kind of for background music. But I made these songs, and I was like, dude, these songs are fucking good. Like these AI songs are, and people can talk shit or whatever, but like, I'm sorry, it sounds good. It sounds legit. It sounds like a real song. I can put in the things that I want to make the song about. Like I went to Happy Jack and I was like, make this song about Happy Jack. We're out in the trailer and like it's a beautiful night and all the stars are out and like, you know, put these kind of terms in it and it will put it all together and make a song. And you're like, and you could tell the style. You could say make it pop punk, make it 80s hair metal, whatever you want, and it puts it out and it's like it's pretty fucking good. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, it definitely throws a wrench into the music business for sure.
I want to show you or play for you two things real quick. This
Okay.
is the intro song that I use for my episodes, which you know it'll come out when the episode comes out. But I'll play it for you real quick here. Check this out and see if you recognize this song.
Oh, I get up around 7, get out of bed around 9. I don't worry about nothing, no, because worry's a waste of my time. Show usually starts around 7. We go on stage around 9. Get on the bus about 11. Sipping a drink and feeling fine.
Yeah. Isn't that Guns N' Roses? Is it Mr. Brownstone?
Yeah, that's right. And so that's a way to get around the copyright. Like I used the Guns N' Roses song as my intro, And I have an outro too that I use a little bit. But check this one out. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but I'll play just the first chorus here, or the first verse here. But check this out. This is what was created. Like, I have this little community that I created called the Poo-Tang Clan. So this is the Poo-Tang Clan theme song. Check this out. This is 100% AI.
Here come the Wu-Tang Clan. It's the PTCs. Here come the PTCs. Here come the Wu-Tang Clan. Wu-Tang Clan. They won't let you forget them. The free thinkers dress and chill, remember that, just in case we ever link up and make a pact. The title held by him, Snoop Von Poop, means what you think you know. He knows the scoop, so don't think twice. What was secret now drops. Khakis with the shades, blunt never stops. Talking riddles, dry with silence. Guard against the haters with hilarious defiance. But yo, we ain't on no scripted list. We straight vibing, connections, no fingerprints. Heard something wild, watch your feet, cause you never quite know where the Wu-Tang's at.
Here come the Wu-Tang Clan. Wu-Tang Clan.
Free thought defenders.
Oh, oh, oh. Here come the Wu-Tang Clan. Wu-Tang Clan. They won't let you forget them. Won't let you forget.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I mean, there you go. That's exactly like, sounds like you spent $1 million in a studio. If you had played that in the 90s or something and showed it to someone, they would think that you spent a lot of money to make that and hire these musicians and have the studio time and all this. And yeah, it was probably cost you nothing, or whatever the app cost, $20
Right.
or whatever.
So this is the last one I'm going to show you here. This is not the one I'm looking for, I don't think. Hang on one second. So I typed in just make me a music video based on my ex profile, and this is what this is not the one.
Hey friends, it's your favorite swirl with the
This is not the one. Anyways, I'll have to share it with you. I'll look for it and find it. But it's really interesting that all I did was type in, make me a music video, and it nailed everything. Like, it even knew when to promote my podcast, and it tied in Chicago and Las Vegas, and it's really amazing. I don't know why I can't find it right now, but do you think that eventually it's just going to be all AI?
That is the question, man. That's what I have a buddy who is very much like a doomsdayer and says that AI is taking everything and all the it's going to, or at least it's going to take like 30% of the jobs. And so it's going to crash the economy. So who knows? I don't think it's ever going to be 100%, because I think that there's something about the experience of going to a concert with live humans and seeing people and seeing the musicians, and for the musicians to react to the crowd. I don't think you can fake that with AI or holograms or robots. I just don't. But I mean, in terms of like theme songs and background music and stuff like that, yeah, I mean, I think AI can take a lot of that stuff, but I don't think musicians make a lot of money on recording music anyways. So I don't think it's going to really cut into too much of what they do already. But yeah, for some people some people, I know the guys in Warrant, they would sell a lot of background music for film and TV. So I don't know if that's cut into their business. Cause if you just need like, I just need some like background music of like some rock guitars or jazz guitars, like why would you hire those guys and pay them money when you could just put it into an app and do that? But
Yeah,
I don't really know. I mean, it's gotta be tough to be a musician these days anyways. I will say though, the other side of the coin is like, you've got musicians who have found new ways to make money with merch and meet and greets. And I mean, how many musicians now like have a coffee brand or whatever? Like Marshawn Lynch, like, and this goes for like athletes and other celebrities. I mean, Marshawn Lynch was just on a podcast and he was promoting his weed brand and stuff. Yeah. And like a lot of these guys, like it's not like they're running a business of this, whatever coffee, hot sauce, they just put their name on it. They license it. Their friends do it. And they say, hey, we'll give you 20% if you promote this, or something like that, if we can use your name on it or whatever. And so I think there's the sky is the limit in terms of ways to make money. Yeah. If you have some following or some fan base, you can you can find tons of ways to make money and merch and meet and greets and all this other stuff. So it's just going to be different in terms of, yeah, you're not going to be able to make that hit record and sell a million records and retire. I just think those days are gone. So
Yeah.
I
Well,
don't think AI made a difference with that anyways.
that's similar to what Brett was saying. He says, bands like these older bands, the hair bands from the 80s, they're gonna always have a career because they can go tour and do stuff. Whereas, it's gonna be tougher for newer bands coming out to make it and break,
Yeah, but it's
you know?
also easier because back then you had to get signed, you had to get a record label, you
Yeah.
had to do you had to jump through all these hoops. And now if you're just really fucking good, you can go out there and you can start a TikTok or a YouTube and people will find you very quickly if you're talented. And I think there's still an eye or a need for talented musicians. Like, I mean, you just have to be more original and get creative. You can't just go out there and be like, okay, I'm going to go out there and play guitar and drums. And it's like, I think that's what I was saying, like Falling in Reverse. They're bringing this electronic component and they're getting real creative. If you see the music videos, there's all this like, stuff going on in the videos. And I mean, that's what you've got to do. You've got to think outside of the box. I mean, that's why a lot of the musicians that we follow that we think are great, like that's what they did. They did something outside of the box. Like Guns N' Roses, I mean, they shook things up in 1987 when they came onto the scene. Like they weren't just the typical pretty boy, safe pop rock band. They were freaking wild and crazy. And that's what I think the world would need that right now. A wild and crazy young band that's just going to shake things up. And I'd love to see it. I would love to manage a band like that, but I even put my name out there to do that and I didn't get any responses. So I guess it's not in the cards for me. I got my own shit to worry about, but somebody should do that.
I found this 100% AI video that I wanted to show you. So
Okay.
I'll share it with you. Now, like I said, all I put in as the prompt was make me a music video, and it's based off of my ex profile. So check this out real quick. It's short. So
Yeah. Started on the strip where the dice roll hot. Desert in my veins, but I'm reppin' that sea life. Fedora tilted back, sunglasses on tight. Poo-tang in the building, yeah, we doing it right. Podcast every Tuesday, 6 p.m. we live. Phone booth productions got the realest to give. From Vegas to the Shy, I'm a double threat. Now one influencer, place on the street to the Shy. Vegas born, but the biz never died. From the strip to the Shy. Put my cities on the map, watch me fly from the strip to the Shy. From the strip to the Shy. Yeah, yeah. From the strip to the Shy, to the Shy. Snoop Vaughn ain't no stopping the wave. Have been enthusiast, that's the.
isn't that crazy?
Yeah. No, that shit's cool. Like I love it. I think it's fun. I think it's definitely a tool. I hope it doesn't just take over and then every music video and every song you hear is AI because that would be really shitty. But I mean, I think it's fun to play with for sure.
Well, Kerry Kelly has a new project called Metal Warrior. I don't know if you've heard of it. He just released it maybe 6 months or so ago. And he's got a whole graphic novel series that goes with it. And the videos for the music are 100% AI animated, like crazy, intricate stuff. And the music's really good too. I think Kerry did all the instruments, I believe. But it's really fascinating. You have to check it out.
Yeah.
Um,
Cool.
but one more thing I want to bring up, and then we'll get you out of here. Like I said, I host another podcast, and we do a lot of conspiracy and news, current event type stuff. Do you have a go-to conspiracy that you want to talk about for a minute? Do you got anything? Chemtrails, 9/11? What you got? Anything that you think is?
I mean, haven't all the conspiracies been proven right recently? Like, is there any left that have not been proven? Like, I mean, I'm just trying to think if there's any that have not fully come out that have.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess there's some people that are hanging on to the official narrative, but a lot of these conspiracies, I mean, even like the ones that sounded kind of crazy, like Pizzagate, now they're saying Bill Maher, who's a liberal commentator, is saying there was a lot of truth in Pizzagate, maybe, which is like kind of, and I thought Pizzagate was crazy. I still think, I don't know that it's 100% exactly like the way they say it, but there is some coding with the language that they were used that it seems very suspicious that you've got these, these people are multi-billionaires. They have personal chefs and stuff, and they're talking to each other like, hey, do you want to get some pizza? It's like, what the hell are you talking? Like, it does seem suspicious. So, I mean, yeah, I love conspiracies, but I also think I've gotten really burned out on a lot because again, I think a lot of them have come true. And I get sick of how they just want to make everything a conspiracy now. And
Yeah.
not everything is a conspiracy or a psyop, I mean, you got to pick and choose the ones that truly are. And I think sometimes it's not necessarily a conspiracy. Like people are trying to, pull these strings. It's just, you got to follow the money. I think that's my biggest conspiracy that I will say. Like a lot of it is just, it all goes to money. Who has the money? Where is the money? How is this going to affect the money? I think for me, the conspiracy, again, I'm getting really into health and psychology. And I just think that people are struggling in this country with those areas. People are, like you said, Janie Lane, you're talking about, and this guy's a multi-talented musician, songwriter. Why is he depressed? Why are so many people depressed? Why are so many people have health issues? Why are they obese? And why are they people? I mean, I know young people that are getting cancer. This is not a conspiracy. I mean, this is like fact. My cousin had breast cancer. I've had cousins with cancer and they've died young, and it's just insane. And to see, I mean, when I went and got my, what do you call that? The colonoscopy. Yeah. Where they check you for colon cancer. And the nurse was saying, oh yeah, we had like a 5-year-old girl that had colon cancer or something. I was like, what the fuck?
It's
so, I mean, I don't
food. They're poisoning us through the food.
The food. Well, it's not even only the food. It's the food. It's the soil. It's our water. I think there's a lot of things there's a lot of toxins in probably, you say chemtrails. I don't know a lot about the chemtrails. I just know, is the air not as good as it was 100 years ago? Probably not. I mean, with all the jets flying around and the carbon, I mean, I don't know if you could say climate change. I don't know about that, but I know that, the boats that are spewing out gasoline in our lakes and rivers and we're drinking that water, like, did they? Yeah, they filtered it. Yeah, no, it's totally fine. Like,
Yeah,
you sure about that? Like the shit that's going into our soil, like, I mean, I don't know. I mean, was that a conspiracy or is this just facts? Like,
well,
but again, all the money, it's a lot easier to sell people cheap shit than sell people high quality, clean, food and water. So,
well, I mean, they openly put fluoride in our water, which is rat poison.
Yeah, I mean, I think officially did they say that they're going to take that out now or something, because they did finally say that it does lower IQ. Like there's actually like research.
Yeah. What it does is it calcifies your pineal gland. It's fascinating stuff. This guy, Justin Robert, is his name, and he's out in Florida, and he just got all the Florida fluoride removed from the water in Florida. Like he went and fought to get it done. He was a guest on the Phone Booth podcast a few months ago. So, I mean, there is progress being made, but I mean, they're really poisoning you from every angle.
Yeah.
It's really
My advice with conspiracies is like, don't dismiss everything that's labeled a conspiracy. Like, do your own research. I know that's like, you're not supposed to, but literally just a lot of this stuff, if you just Google it, it's on Google. Like they'll tell you like, is fluoride bad? And you could read the research and decide for yourself. But I mean, or do you read the research on like, is our soil safe? Is there maybe some things in our soil that are not good, or things that are being robbed of the nutrients in our food and soil and our water and all these things? I mean, you could just start learning about it yourself and come to your own conclusion. But I don't think I think the whole term conspiracy was made up by the government to dismiss things that they didn't want people to know about. I think
it was created by the CIA with Kennedy.
Yeah, with the JFK, because they didn't want people to realize what happened. That and I don't even know the full thing with JFK, but I know there was some shenanigans. I don't think it was just some lone crazy guy. I think there was some stuff going on. And the more you read about JFK, man, the more that I just totally respect that dude. He seemed like a stand-up guy that was really trying to fight for Americans' rights and what was best for the country. And it's sad that he died. They took him out. So yeah, I think a lot of this stuff is not really conspiracy. If you just use your brain and think like, oh, does this make sense? Does this side make sense? Or would it make more sense that this happened? With pharmaceutical companies, like, does it make sense that every pharmaceutical is safe and you should just trust the news when they tell you to take them? Or does it make sense that maybe pharmaceutical companies are trying to make money and they want to make a big profit, so they're going to buy airtime from these news companies and be in bed with the news company. So the news company's not going to talk shit about their products because that'd be bad for business.
Yeah.
Is
I
that a
don't
conspiracy? Is that just fact? I don't know.
I don't want to say the V word or the C word, but I'm sure you remember just a few years ago what happened, and there was a lot of people speaking up about things that were involved in the V, and turns out those things are coming true, you know.
Yeah. I
It's
got, I mean, I got shit for, I mean, yeah, it's like, yeah, you're a conspiracy theorist. You're crazy. You're right. You're crazy far right wing. If you talk, I mean, it's the weird thing about that though, is that I don't think the narrative stuck because I had a lot of friends that were either liberal or not political or even far left liberal. And they were not down with taking a COVID vaccine. Or sorry, was I not supposed to say it?
you're
The
good.
CV.
Just we don't
Which
give out medical advice here on the Here's the Thing podcast. We are not medical experts.
I'm definitely not a medical expert, but I know that taking an experimental drug is you're running a risk. And so I took it though. I took the Johnson and Johnson because I thought, okay, well, I don't know, like I got to do something, but this one is like it's like a dead virus. That technologies had been around for a while, but I don't know. I mean, if that was a good idea, or if it wasn't, I don't know. It's probably stupid. I wish that I hadn't taken that, but
you
I mean,
know,
yeah, I just do your own research, talk to your doctor and ask them like, hey, what are the risks of this? Like, is there like is a bigger risk to take it or to not take it? Like, and I think that's the problem with a lot of pharmaceuticals is like people just, they have a symptoms and they take the drug to relieve the symptoms, but then they have these side effects. And then what do you do with the side effects? And it's like, and it's not just the C and the V stuff. I mean, it's like a lot of
mhm,
pharmaceuticals. Like we're overly medicated in this country. I don't think that's a conspiracy. I think you
no.
can look at and how it affects people. So that's what my channel is trying to be more about, is just like getting people to be healthier and happier and chase their dreams and do what they want to do and do good things in the world. That's what I'm trying to do, and I'm trying to help other people do it. So yeah.
Well, you keep up the good work, man, and I'll keep supporting you, man. I sure
Yeah,
appreciate
yeah,
you taking the time to talk to me today, man. It's
it's
been
fun.
cool getting to meet you, and you got anything you want to promote? Anything you want to throw out
Yeah, I
there?
mean, just subscribe to my YouTube channel if you can. You can follow. I'm on all the social medias: Facebook, X/Twitter, whatever it's called this week, Instagram, TikTok. I mean, whatever you. A lot of the stuff I'll post the same. Like I'll post the reel. I'll put on YouTube. It's a YouTube short. On TikTok and Facebook and Instagram, it's the same video, but I'll just post because I don't know. Some people like TikTok. Some people like
Hmm.
Facebook. I don't really like Facebook personally, but I'll post stuff on there for people that do. And yeah, I mean, I just, you follow me. I think I post good content, but I guess that's up to people to decide if it fits with them or not. I try to post things that are that bring people some value. I guess is kind of my biggest thing right now. I just want to post something that so when I die, I look back and people can look at my channel and go, "Wow, that he posted some good stuff." Even if it's it's not the drama that's getting in the gossip that's getting the clicks. I've done that. I've dabbled in that world too with the rock stars. I've posted a lot of that stuff, but I just feel like at the end of the day, that's not really helping me grow my brand and what I want to stand for. So
Well,
yeah,
I'm real interested in your health stuff. I want to check out some of that. And one other thing that I wanted to mention earlier was that you were talking about the self help stuff, and I wanted to bring up Tony Robbins because I did a Tony Robbins program back in probably 2000, 2001, somewhere around there, and that really helped me a lot shape how I approach situations and how I handle everyday things, and it's really fascinating. So I'm real interested, and I want to see more of what you're putting out. Because
yeah, I
it's
love
all
that Tony
fascinating.
Robbins. I actually, I had a coach for about a year that through the Tony Robbins through his company, and she was great. And yeah, I mean, I think it's that stuff is to me, it's really interesting because I'm always so fascinated. I mean, that's if you look at my podcast episodes, a lot of that's where it stems from is like being fascinated by these people that are at the top of their game, whether it be music or sports or authors. And, I had a variety of people on, but, a lot of it was musicians, but those were popular episodes. But to me, it's like I'm almost more fascinated by like how they made it than the music itself.
Yeah.
Although I am a fan of the music, of course, too. But yeah, so I mean, that's the stuff I'm kind of trying to focus on. And eventually, I would love to come back and have a podcast and do interviews and have some of the people that didn't want to do my show before, maybe, you know, after I build up a name for myself, then they'd want to come back. Like I'd love to have, you know, Axl Rose would be one of my all-time bucket list guests, because I think he doesn't do interviews, and he's a fascinating guy. He's a brilliant songwriter and musician, and so I'm sure he's got some great stories to tell. So someday that would be a bucket list interview for sure.
That would be amazing. Well, thank you again, everybody. Follow Chuck Shute. He's on every platform. Look it up, Chuck Shute, and don't hang up just yet. And we'll talk a few more minutes. But thank you, everybody, for joining in, and thank you again, Chuck.
Thank you.
Good night.